Here are 3 reasons why to subscribe to Fridge Financials on YouTube. Number 1, it is free, which is the best price that you can pay for this kind of content. 2, I am completely transparent with all of my investments. And number 3, I have a variety of educational videos every single week. Now let's get on with the video. YouTube, and welcome back to another video. It is Fridge Financials here. And in today's video, we're actually looking into the McDonald's stock, and we're looking at how recently the stock has been down quite a bit. I'm a huge fan of McDonald's stock here, but we're going to look into some possible causes as to why, where it could possibly lead us to, and some other things that might have learned something new today as I cover a couple different articles and everything else. If you're excited for today's video, just make sure that you drop a subscription, like the video as well, and turn on the bell notifications so you do not miss any future videos. Again, we're approaching 30 subscribers, and thank you so much for all of your continued support. So if you're not subscribed and you are watching this, please feel free to take a subscription. It's free of charge, and it helps me bring these financial content to you guys. I know that the support is there, and it's not just me talking to nobody. So with that being said, we're going to be looking into a new article that was published over the last couple hours. This was published earlier this morning about the McDonald's stock here. So essentially what they're talking about is that the shares of fast food company Heavyweight are down about 13.5% in the last 6 months. Now, that is compared to the S&P 500's 5% gain. And again, the S&P 500 is what tracks the top 500 companies in the US market. And again, the S&P 500 is one of the most simple investments you can always make if you're looking at investing in the stock market, because it tracks all those 500 companies, and it kind of gives you that diversification. And the returns over the years on average are about 10%. So with the S&P being up 5% and McDonald's being down 13.5%, that's a little bit of a concern, because McDonald's is usually known as one of those stable companies. They're one that people go to when there's market volatility. It's like a defense stock. So it's really interesting to see that McDonald's is being outdone so badly compared to the S&P 500 here. And again, if you zoom out, you can look at it even more. The shares dropped about 15.2% in the last 3 months. So what is going on with McDonald's stock? Why is it being down so much and being sold off? So it's really interesting to read through this article here and talk about how it hits a 52-week low and everything else here. And again, what gives with the safe haven play? Again, everybody, that looks at buying dividend stocks always looks at McDonald's. They have a dividend they've been paying it out for 20 plus years. They've been growing it all the time. And again, it's a very safe one usually, because it helps when the markets are more volatile, right? Now, what Yahoo finds, what this article talks about, is that it says the blame is on the longer-term impact of the weight loss drugs like Ozempic. Now, if you aren't aware about what Ozempic is, it's a weight loss drug that people are taking that kind of like shelters cravings and shelters hunger and those kind of things. If you think about it in the context here, and there's 2 sides to this, the people that are having the hunger, like being, relaxed, and they're not eating as much food here, the market is thinking that from a financial perspective, since people aren't going out to eat as much, people aren't going to go eat food as much here, and there's a lot of people that are starting to take Ozempic and everything else for weight loss drugs and those kind of things, it's going to start to have these big, company sell-offs like McDonald's and Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and all those. And the reason why is because people aren't going out to the restaurants and buying things anymore. They're not hungry. If you're not hungry, people are afraid that if they're not hungry, they're not going to go out and buy McDonald's and buy those, quarter pounders and drink those sodas and everything else. So this perspective is focusing on it as a financial, impact, because people aren't going out and eating food as much, and not going out to eat food because of this weight loss drug. Now, is that true? There's 2 sides to that idea, because if you think about it, if people are losing weight, maybe they might still be like, you know what, I can afford to eat a cheeseburger. I know when I lose weight, there's times where I'm like, I've lost a couple pounds. You know what, I can go out and have like an unhealthy, bag of Doritos, something like that. So they might be thinking that way, where they might be like, you know what, I've lost 10 pounds. I can go out and have a quarter pounder and it won't impact me that much. So that's like the one side where McDonald's is going to be fine long-term still. The other side, again, is that people aren't going out to McDonald's. They're trying to lose weight, so not eat unhealthy. They have the healthy trends coming in, and people aren't going to be putting their money at McDonald's, Burger King, Coca-Cola, those kind of things. And that's why there's not as much money coming into the companies like McDonald's, and which causes their revenues to drop, and then as a result, causes their stock to go down in price. If you take a look at how they've had about 10.6 million shots that were given out for doses, and that was just in May of 2023. So again, dividing that by 4.5 weeks in a month, which is the average in a month that you're looking at here. So about 4.5 weeks in a month. So that means you're looking at just about 2.4 million adults in May have taken this shot. In the May, again, that's around that. They're not exact and that, but they're seeing a really big uptick in weight loss drugs and those kind of things. And people are thinking that, the concern is, since you're not going to McDonald's to buy French fries that are phenomenal, to buy a McFlurry that's never working because the ice cream machine's always down. But when you're going out to McDonald's and you're looking to buy these things here, if you're losing weight, maybe you don't want to go out and buy those things anymore. So that's what one concern is about why McDonald's stock is possibly being really, really low. And the article goes more into about how their profits are and everything. And what sets McDonald's apart from other fast foods like Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, those kind of things, they run a franchise business model. If you aren't aware about what McDonald's does to make so much money, I'm going to show you how they do it. Or I'm going to explain how you do it, okay? So the business model of McDonald's here is that what they do is they have someone called a franchisee, and the franchisee is the one that buys, not buys it, but they are the ones that take up a contract with McDonald's to run their store, so whatever it is. So if I wanted to be a franchisee of McDonald's in my town, I would sign up for one to become one, and then I would come and I would be able to get a store that's already there, and I gotta pay rent because I'm renting it out from McDonald's, because McDonald's owns the actual building, and then I, and the franchisee, is the one that pays rent every month to McDonald's for letting me use it. So the business model is that they're already owned by McDonald's. A lot of the buildings that you see are owned by McDonald's, but what they do is they allow people to rent them out. Essentially, it's like having rental properties, but McDonald's has thousands and thousands of them. 37,000. It's 295 locations that are franchised, and that's as of 2021. So this is about 2 years old, which is, a little bit outdated, but nothing too crazy. So they rent out their buildings to these people who are franchisees, and the franchisees in return pay them rent, and they also get royalties. So McDonald's actually has two revenue streams that they talk about here. They get money from rent because the franchisee is renting the McDonald's building from them, and they get royalty driven from what they're selling as a company. So, if they make $100,000 in, say, a month, which is not the case, McDonald's might have a 10% royalty fee, so they get 10% of it because it's their business, it's their model, it's their icon, it's their advertisement, right? So what this does is it allows them to keep 82% of their revenue by having rent and royalties factored in, compared to other franchisees, which focus on only about 16%. So this is where a lot of McDonald's money comes into play, and this is why they're so smart, is that they rent out the buildings to franchisees, and then they get rent and royalties back instead of just royalties. Makes life a little better. Now, if you're wondering why someone would ever want to do that, the reason is behind the demand is that you have a brand already done for you. You don't have to go out and market things yourself. You don't have to go out and establish a brand. Everybody knows the Golden Arch. Everybody knows McDonald's. You don't have to go out the extra limb and go franchise, and you don't have to go out and advertise. Everybody knows McDonald's already. You're already being put into a situation where the company makes money, and you're going to be making some money. So it makes your life a little bit easier, and it makes the transition easier, and you're buying into an established brand, which I think is really, really nice. And that's why people always that's why there's a lot of people that want to franchise in McDonald's here. I believe if you go further down here, not even looking at these numbers here, the average pay of somebody is about $150,000 a year for a franchisee. I don't know if it's somewhere down here. I saw that at one point. What's included? Yes, McDonald's franchise owners can expect to make over $150,000 in profits in a year. But again, it might be a little bit less than that. But again, even if you're coming in saying you're going to be guaranteed to make $100,000 in profits in a year on you personally, you're making a six-figure salary by buying into the McDonald's franchise. Now, with McDonald's franchise, they have a lot of stipulations like net worth. You have to have a certain net worth to become a franchisee and have the money available. So you can't have like a 401k and be like, yeah, I have enough money. That's not liquid. There is not a lot of liquidity there because it's locked up. So you have to have liquidity and you have to have a certain net worth in order to franchise McDonald's. So besides that, on top of that, the also thing that's really starting to come around, especially in California, is the talks of minimum wage here. So with minimum wage here, the idea is that they've just recently passed a law. We're looking at minimum wage being about $20 an hour in the state of California. So with there being a minimum wage increase of $20 an hour starting in next April, it's going up $4.50 an hour, which is, again, as you see, is written right down here. And the reason as to why this could have an impact on this company and other companies in general is that you think about McDonald's as a company, you know, usually it's your first job that you get as you are just starting off work. Maybe you're 16, you know, you get your first job, you become a cashier, drive-through, whatever it is. You work those fast food, you know, retail jobs. And the issue with that is that since minimum wage is going to go from $15.50 an hour to $20 an hour, is that that's going to eat into McDonald's profits because they got to pay out the people who are working for them. And so people are starting to worry if how is that going to impact the McDonald's franchise when you're increasing minimum wage. If it goes up $4.50 an hour, you're paying them $20 an hour, you have to offset your costs somehow, and your margins are either going to shrink because you have to pay them more for your business or for them to work for you, or they're going to increase prices to counteract it. So you might see that inflationary value go up. You might see a quarter pounder be worth, you know, $3, $4, $5, $6 maybe because of the minimum wage. Now, right now, that's just in California, but again, if it starts to go across to the rest of the country, you might see those prices of McDonald's burgers, fries, whatever it is, going up in price over time. So some things to really look out for. I still love McDonald's as a stock personally because it's one of those companies that is stable. You know, they have so many stores. They bring in so much money still. Their margins are insane. So I'm not worried about them in the long term, but those are kind of some of the reasons that you're looking at estimating why is McDonald's stock down this much. These are two major reasons as to why we're looking at it. So hopefully that was some new insight for you guys. If you liked the video you made this far, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on the bell notifications. I'm going to see you guys in the next video.